I am an actor and I love it. It's my passion. I so thoroughly enjoy going on stage, being characters, being in front of a screen, doing all that kind of stuff. I know it's my calling and I know that I'm good at it. My parents are proud of me. It's wonderful. But I wasn't always an actor. See, my original degree was in computer science. Now, why computer science? Well, I enjoyed computers, I enjoyed video games. But mainly, I thought to myself, computing, that's a sensible job, right? That's a thing you can study, you can do, you can get a career in. So I go off to university, and that's where I studied. It's April 2008, Edinburgh, Scotland. I'm in the university building, it's coming up to the final exams. I'm at the elevator, I'm waiting to get on, and one of my lecturers comes along, and he's waiting for the elevator as well. And we strike up a little small chat, small talk. Ask me how the exams are going. I say, they've actually not started yet, I'm just going to be studying at the moment. He says, what are your plans for after you graduate? I say, I'm weighing up my options at the moment. Now, what I really meant was, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I've not planned anything going forward. He then says, I was really impressed by the work you did on the course that I taught you on. Would you be interested in being a research assistant on my research group? To which I responded, yes, absolutely. I got to start working 2 weeks after my final exam. I knew that was something special. But there was something a bit off from the start. You see, I worked there for his research group for 2 years, but I was always on a 2-month visitor contract. I never had a proper contract. Now, when you start off working, you can kind of see the logic there, but because I was always on these 2 months temporary contracts, I had to stay under the radar. I couldn't let people know that I was there because I was not illegally there, but I was going against the rules. At any moment, I could get fired, I could get told to leave. And this is 2008, this is the financial crisis. So many of my friends were struggling to find work, had got fired and all this kind of stuff. I knew that I had to stay and work. So I kept my head below the radar. I was constantly worried and full of anxiety that I would get fired or have to leave. So I couldn't spend money, I couldn't plan for my future, I had no security. A few months into my time there, somebody actually mentioned at one point, you know what? The reason why we're not giving you a proper contract is because we have to advertise the role, and there's a chance you wouldn't even get the job, really. So you should just be happy that you've got some work. So I already had anxiety because of the contract situation. But the job itself, I should mention, it was the research group. What they did was they had little devices that had sensors on them, and the sensors could do different things. The area I worked in was called motion capture. So you put the devices on your body, you'd move around, and then the little capture on the computer screen would move around as well. And there was a lot of good things about working there. Charmaine, the secretary, she was 20 years my senior. We got on wonderfully well. She was like an auntie to me. She was great. I was really good at presenting and demonstrating the devices in action. I could pop these on myself, I could dance around, I could explain the technology to people who weren't technologically minded. I was good at working with outside groups who would come in and do work with our devices. And I was also good at running workshops, so getting people to use the devices to explain how it worked and to have ideas about how they could use them themselves. The areas I wasn't as strong at was the research side, coming up with innovative ideas and algorithms and writing papers on that. And I think part of that issue was about the fact that I was assigned a task called step tracking. Essentially, our devices could capture your limbs moving around, but if you walked around in the space, they wouldn't pick that up. So anytime somebody was walking, it would be like they were doing a little salsa dance type thing. Now, my boss had been telling investors, oh, don't worry, we've got somebody working on that, well, he'll solve that. That'd be me. Turns out, this was a fundamental problem that no one in the world had solved yet. And the idea that I was going to somehow quickly come up with that solution was very optimistic. So, because I wasn't that great at the researching and writing the papers, a lot of the other guys kind of looked down a bit on me. They would talk down to me a bit, that kind of thing. And even when it came to the stuff I was good at, the presenting, the demos, the running the workshops, that to them was just these frivolous tasks that nobody really wants to do. So I just felt really worthless. And even that area that I was good at, for months there was an issue with the devices where they just weren't properly working when I would be testing them. And I kept saying to the guys, and they were like, oh, have you tried calibrating them? And it's like, yes, I do that. They didn't believe me. Then for months they came along to one of the demos, they saw they weren't working, they went off, had a look. Oh, it turned out there was a flaw in the way they had designed the devices. No apologies, no recognition of the months I felt worthless because of how they were treating me. 18 months into my time there, and I am feeling just full of anxiety, feeling worthless, unhappy. My parents know I'm unhappy, but I just don't see a way out. November 2009, I take my first improv class, and I love it. I'm not saying I was the greatest at it, but I had a lot of fun, and I realized that there was something that I was kind of good at. You know, I'd get up onto the stage and I could act around, and people seemed to enjoy what I was doing. And I thought to myself, maybe there's something here. I didn't know what, but I thought maybe there's something here. Start of 2010, just have a run of bad things at work. The projects that I'm working on, they all end, they all get stopped. The girl I'm dating at the time, she breaks up with me. April 2010, 2 years on from that meeting at the elevator. I arrive back in my apartment, and my flatmate, James, is there. He's in the kitchen. He was my flatmate, he was my best friend, and also my colleague at the time. He's broken up with his girlfriend, so we were having a late night chat, you know, philosophizing, putting the world to right. And I say, do you know what, I think I'm ready to quit. And I'm one of those guys that when I know I've reached a conclusion, I need to go with that. A few days later, I tell Charmaine, I come to work and I say, look, I'm going to quit. She says, you have to tell the boss. He's away this week, so you're going to have to phone him. I say, well, maybe I'll wait till he comes back. She said, no. If you wait till he comes back, he's going to say you should have told him sooner. Okay. So I give him a phone. He asks me, how's it going? I say, it's all going fine, pleasantries. But then I say, I'm actually going to quit. Silence. You know, I really wish you'd waited until I got him back before telling me this. Never going to win. For the final month, I'm put onto a few different projects, and one of them is a workshop for high school physics teachers in Scotland. And I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit, it's my story. I ran a wonderful workshop. I got some of the guys to come in and they talked about the technologies. I explained how the devices work. We had a few demonstrations. Then it was 30 odd high school physics teachers. I put them into groups of 5, each at a table. They had paper and pens, and I got them to work out a way that they could use the devices in the classroom to teach the curriculum. And I went around, I was checking in with them, and then at the end we had a little presentation. Everybody talked about how they could be used. The head of high school physics in Scotland comes down at the end. He says, Paul, fantastic workshop, I loved it. These devices, I want them in the classroom. Gets a card out. Here's my personal email address. Not his work email address, his personal one. It was a Yahoo email address. He goes, I want us to talk about this. I said, this is wonderful. I'm actually about to leave. I was leaving the work, but I'll let my boss know. Next day, I go into the office, my boss' office. He asks me how it went. I say it was really great, and I present him with the email address on the card. His response, yes, well, there's not much money in education, is there? So we can just ignore that. Oh. There you go. That summed it up for me. I did the best job that I could do. I did the absolute best, and it didn't matter. Everything I was doing over those 2 years, it didn't matter. I left that job, and I kind of left computing behind me. I went to study acting. In some ways, I lost a career, but I gained a hobby. I still like computers, I still enjoy them. But the difference when I do acting performance, when I get on a stage or I'm in front of a camera, and I perform and I make an audience laugh, or I make them cry, I get them engaged, I have a round of applause. I know one thing that is so important, that they value the thing that I'm doing. And that's the thing that I take with me from that day on. Thank you.